Welcome back, boys and girls. So we are going to finish off our whip stitch. In the last video I showed you how to whip stitch around the edge of your foam plate. So when you're done with your whip stitch, you do need to tie it off in the back. Okay, now on a plate we could just cut this and tape it, but sometimes it's nice to have it tied so that you don't have to worry about the tape coming off. So I have my string on my needle. I'm going to go ahead and take my needle off because I don't need that anymore. Now you can see that when I'm doing the whip stitch, it's going to end kind of in the front, and then I have no other hole to whip around to the back. But because this is a circle, I'm now ending right next to my first knot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my string and I'm going to kind of loop it around my knot. Okay? So you can see I've kind of put it around the knot. Then I'm going to be tying another knot around it. So I'm going to take my long string here. I'm going to crisscross them like we were doing before to tie knots. And then I need to put the long end through my loop to tie my knot. Okay, once it gets close, make sure it's still around this knot here, and when you pull it, make sure it pulls tight around that knot. So now you can see from the front, you can't even tell where it ends. On the back, this is where it's going to go. And I only tied it once, so I want to do 2 knots for that. So I'm going to loop it around this knot again. Make sure I have a loop. Okay. Now that I have my loop, I can put this long end through the loop and pull it tight to make another knot around my first knot. Okay? Once you have that, it should be pretty stable and it should stay pretty well, so you can go ahead and clip off the extra string. And now you can see that the whip stitch is finished. Okay? For this next video, we are going to talk about how you are going to add your design to your plate, and then I will be showing you different stitches. So, you're going to need a pencil to draw your idea onto your plate. And it can be a picture of anything, but make it simple and make it kind of big so that when you're adding your stitches, it's easy for you to see where you want to add those. And bigger is better so that your stitches aren't super close together, because this foam plate can rip if the lines and the holes and the stitches are too close together. So for my idea, I'm going to just do a big sun, because that'll help me practice with doing a shape and then also doing some different kinds of lines. So when you draw lightly with a pencil so that you can see where you want your stitches to go. You don't want to press too hard, because you don't want to see those lines in the end. So I have this very simple sun right here. And then I also might want to add some extra circles inside so I can practice adding different colors together. Okay, so here is my little simple sun. So just like before, you are going to have to poke holes into your lines before you begin sewing. So I'm going to go ahead and take my needle and poke some holes along those lines. Make sure they're about a finger width apart, so that when you're sewing, you're not ripping through the foam plate. And just like before, this is kind of like this is gonna help you find where you need to put your stitches. So just like here, it will help guide your needle as you're coming from the back into the front, since we cannot see through the foam plate. Okay, so I've just done my lines for my sun. I'm also going to go in here and do the circle. Now, when you're doing a shape that is curvy or round, you might want to put your holes a little bit closer together, because you need to have shorter lines to make those curvy lines. So short lines are better for making curves. If you have long lines, they're going to be a lot straighter. So you want to have your lines kind of close together and your stitches kind of close together when you're doing a circle. Okay, so I've just poked through all of my design. Now I'm ready to get started with some different kinds of stitches. So I'm going to put this on my needle. Okay, remember, we want to put the string, one end of the string through the eye of the needle, the other end gets a knot. So just like we practiced before, cross it so that you get a loop. Okay, Then you're going to take the end and you twist it around and put it through the loop and pull it tight. And remember, you have to do that 3 times. So that was 1, crisscross, have my loop, pull it through the loop, make sure they stay together, 2, and 1 more time, crisscross, like that, put it through the hole, and pull it tight. Okay, so I'm ready to do my stitches. I'm going to do that in the next video. So go to the next video to see how to do a few different types of stitches. That includes the back stitch, the running stitch, and I also might show you a cross stitch.